Hi, fifth graders. Mrs. Farrell from Madison and Emerson. For your last number talk this week, we are going to look at these fractions here, and we're going to do a little bit of what is the same and what is different. So I want you to take a look at these two questions. Really up here is the main question that's being asked, okay? And then you can look at the work that's done underneath and decide what you see that is the same and what you see that is different. Please pause the video, give yourself some time to think, and then I'll share with you what my thoughts were. Okay, so as we can see at the very top of both of these sets of work, 2/9, we're wondering, is that greater or less than 1/5? That's what we're trying to figure out. And we're trying to figure that out on both sides here. So it looks like, however, that the work that was done to try and figure out if 2/9 is greater or less than 1/5 or equal to was not the same. So I can see just by looking, without even really looking at the numbers, I can see that the process these two different people went through is different. But let's take a look and see what is the same. So for on this side, this set of work over here, we have our 2/9 and we have our 1/5. And it looks like they are trying to figure out an equivalent fraction for both of those fractions. And the reason I know that is because they're multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So 2 times 5 equals 10, 9 times 5 equals 45. So we know that 2/9 is equivalent to 10/45. So again, they multiplied both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. The same thing happened over here. We had 1/5. Both the numerator and the denominator were multiplied by the same number, in this case 9, and we can see that the equivalent fraction is 9/45. I noticed over here in this set of work, similar thing in that they were trying to figure out an equivalent fraction by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. Now, the number that they multiplied each of these fractions by is, of course, different. So the process was the same, but the actual numbers were different. At the bottom, I can see that they came up with the same solution for both. So at the very bottom here, we can see that they are deciding that 2/9 is greater than 1/5, and that was the conclusion that was come to on this side as well. 2/9 is greater to 1/5. But the way they went about it is different. So let's take a closer look at the work that was done. So when they multiplied 2/9 by 5 and got that 10/45, they now were dealing with two fractions that both had denominators of 45. So now we're comparing more apples to apples because we have the same denominator in both of our equivalent fractions now. So 2/9 became 10/45, 1/5 was equal to 9/45, and therefore we can see that 10 pieces out of 45 is greater than 9 pieces out of 45. 10/45 is greater than 9/45, so that means that 2/9 is in fact greater. Go ahead and put my greater than sign in here. Greater than 1/5. And again, they were able to figure that out by setting both of these fractions equal to, or setting them to their equivalent fractions with denominators of 45. On this side, yes, they were finding an equivalent fraction, but they only did it for 1/5. They figured out that 1/5 was equivalent to 2/10. And the reason that was done is so that each of these fractions had the same numerator. So when we're comparing fractions and they both have the same numerator, it makes it a little bit more clear to us which one is larger. Because now we're dealing with 2/9 and 2/10. So 2 pieces out of 9, taking a whole and breaking it into 9 pieces and then taking 2 of them. And then comparing that to taking a whole, breaking it into 10 pieces and taking 2 of them. We know that 2/9 is going to be greater because when we break that whole up into 9 pieces, those pieces are going to be larger than that same whole if we took it and broke it into 10 pieces. More pieces means smaller pieces. So 2 of 9 is going to be greater than 2 out of the 10 pieces. So 2/9 is greater to 1/5. So same conclusion, different ways of getting there, yet same process of finding equivalent fractions. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for joining.